Alright, also look. Ooh, welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about, as well as listing my top 5 UFC Super Fights that I need made ASAP by the end of 2025. And look, I know that nowadays it's kind of become an ongoing trend for newly cemented champions to sorta disregard their respective divisions, as well as their surging prospects, as well as their #1 contenders, in order to entertain the idea of just jumping up a weight class in order to acquire that champ status off rip. But in this video, I'm going to be breaking down, as well as taking a deep dive into what specific super fights that, if they were to get made right now, would not only make the most amount of sense from an attainment as well as accomplishment standpoint, but would also make the most amount of sense from a pay-per-view and business standpoint as well. Being that a lot of these super fights that I'll be naming in this video would break absolute numbers when it comes to pay-per-view buys. So, with that being said, without further ado, let's get right in to the video. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share so you can help me reach 2,000 subscribers by May. I'll deeply appreciate you. And make sure you join the official UFC Discord, link in the description. Alright, so look, coming in at the 5th ranked spot on the list, we've got the super fight between the undisputed strawweight champion of the world, Zhang Weili, taking on the undisputed women's flyweight champion of the world, the Bullet, Valentina Shevchenko. And look, without a shadow of a doubt, this has got to be the best fight you can make right now for women's mixed martial arts. Especially after Weili's stupendous UFC 312 performance against the, at the time, undefeated Tatiana Suarez, where she showed bona fide levels against a surging undefeated prospect who was supposed to go out there and maul her. And look, in my honest opinion, this is probably the best time you can make a matchup like this while both women are still at their peaks and still at their primes. I mean, both Valentina and Weili are quite literally their division's consensus GOATs and are dominant champions from top to bottom. And with Valentina just recently coming off of her grueling 2-year trilogy stint with the former champ Alexa Grasso, and both her and Weili at 35 years of age, the window for this monumental WMMA super fight is steadily getting smaller and smaller as time goes by. So we must seize the moment as soon as possible. That is why I've got Zhang Weili versus Valentina Shevchenko at the 5th ranked spot on my list of super fights that I need to see by the end of 2025. Now, coming in at the 4th ranked spot on the list, we've got a super fight between the undisputed flyweight champion of the world, the cannibal Alexandre Pantoja, taking on the undisputed bantamweight champion of the world, as well as the Energizer Bunny himself, Merab, the Machine Dewalishvili. And look, I didn't necessarily want to see a fight between these two, especially after Merab Dewalishvili's bona fide masterclass of a performance that he put on against Umar Nurmagomedov during UFC 311. I didn't think it would really be that competitive until I started to think upon it a bit more and realized that this is probably the best thing that you can do for both the flyweight and bantamweight divisions, respectfully. Because look, when you think about it, neither Pantoja nor Merab has a clear contender next. I mean, Pantoja is scheduled to take on Kai Kara France for UFC 314 in April, but Kai Kara is ranked 4th within the flyweight division, with Pantoja dispatching of both the #1 and #2 contenders on multiple occasions. Not to mention, both Kai Kara and Pantoja have fought before, way back when, on The Ultimate Fighter, with Pantoja coming out on top. Plus, for this UFC 314 bout that they've got coming up, I've got Pantoja taking this fight pretty convincingly. And as for Merab, he's quite literally beaten every deserving guy in his division, whether it be Sugar Sean O'Malley to win the belt, A 50-45 decision victory over Petr Yan, or most recently, a dominant decision victory over the formerly undefeated Umar Nurmagomedov that's got everyone and their mother christening him the greatest bantamweight of all time. Plus, the only guy ranked within the top 8 at 135 pounds coming off of a win is Petr Yan, who we've already seen get mollywhopped for 5 straight rounds. And as for Alexandre Pantoja, I mean, he's pretty much cleared out his entire division at this point. So after Kaikata, who's next? A Royval trilogy? Yeah, I don't think so. That is why I believe that this matchup should happen sometime within the near future. I mean, Pantoja has beyond earned his opportunity to go up a weight class to challenge for that champ. And he's the only deserving champion of a super fight that doesn't even entertain the idea of super fights. Not to mention, this gives both divisions a kind of grace period. Time to grow and time to see what newer, fresher, more interesting prospects and contenders have in store. And open the flood doors to a lot more fun matchups altogether. That is why I've got Merab the Machine Dvalishvili versus Alexandre Pantoja taking the 4th spot on the list. And now, coming in at the 3rd spot on the list, where we've got a super fight between the undefeated 14-0 wrestling prodigy, as well as the future middleweight champion of the world, Khamzat Chimaev, taking on the undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, Alex Pereira. And look, I already know what you guys are thinking right now. Oh, Khamzat ain't even the middleweight champion right now, and it's actually Dricus du Plessis. Wouldn't the super fight be between Pereira and Dricus? And look, that's where you've got it all wrong, my friend. Because by the time the convo is centered around the middleweight champion going up for 2 belts, the 185-pound champion at the time will, without a shadow of a doubt, be Khamzat Chimaev. And you see, while we all know that this fight wouldn't be competitive, like, in the slightest, just imagine how big it would be. And look, let me put it into perspective for you real quick. It's about the 3rd quarter of 2025, and Khamzat Chimaev is coming off of a dominant first-round submission finish against Dricus du Plessis, and Alex Pereira, also coming off of a victory, is coming off of a stupendous win against Magomed Ankalaev. And you know, taking into account that that's 3 champions in a row, those being Marty from Nebraska, Bobby Knuckles, and Dricus du Plessis, the UFC are like, cool, 2 of the company's biggest superstars that are both now dominant champions with multiple former champion wins under their belts, as well as a built-in storyline to bat. This matchup would do absolute numbers and would honestly be a very interesting stylistic matchup if Khamzat Bors can't close the show as soon as possible. On one side, a Hall of Fame glory kickboxer with his signature left hook of doom imbued with world-ending nuclear KO ability. And on the other side, a grade A submission maestro with a choke so strong, it can turn your entire jawbone into smithereens. And look, I know this matchup is definitely a bit headcanon-y, but one I would love and defo can see happening within the not so distant future. That is why I have placed the super fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Alex Pereira at the 3rd spot on my list. And now, coming in at the runner-up spot on my list of super fights that we need to see made by the end of 2025, I've got the fight between the undefeated, undisputed featherweight champion of the world, Ilia El Matador Topuria, taking on the undisputed lightweight champion of the world, as well as the current pound-for-pound king himself, Islam Makhachev. And look, I know I just recently came out with a video stating that I didn't want to see a super fight between these two just quite yet, because of the unfinished business that they've got within their respective divisions. But I can't even lie to you right now. A super fight between the Ilia Abturo, top Turo.
How do you think you would beat Ilia Abturo, top Turo? Or grab him with the scruff of the chest and slap that little nose off him, yeah? Little ding-dong of a thing he is, yeah?
As well as the daggy imbrera of a thing, Islam Makhachev would go absolutely fucking ballistic. Like, real shit. And you know, when you think about it, just like the aforementioned Weili versus Shevchenko fight, the window for this fight will be closing fairly quickly. But unlike the women's fight where age is the problem with this fight would be timing and missed opportunity. Because look, once Islam Makhachev moves up to the 170-pound division, this fight is probably gone, like, for good. And just like that, we would have missed out on quite literally the biggest champ v champ matchup you could have made right now in today and age's mixed martial arts. That being said though, I do think that this fight is going to be extremely competitive. I mean, on one hand, we've got the balanced skill set as well as the KO ability from Ilia El Matador Topuria. And on the other hand, we've got the complete well-roundedness as well as the wrestling threat from Islam Makhachev. This fight would undoubtedly, without a shadow of a doubt, be the biggest champ-champ matchup you can make right now. But it takes the second spot on the list because there is only one other champ v champ matchup that we need to see before we say goodbye to 2025 and say hello to 2026. And that's the number one spot on my list of super fights that we need to see conceived in the year of 2025, where I've got the inevitable showdown between Johnny Turinabol Jones taking on the real heavyweight champion of the world, Tom Aspinall. And look, y'all, I know this ain't a fight between two separate champions in two separate weight divisions, but the heavyweight title needs to be unified before the final day of 2025, or at least, like, before I die, because I can't leave this world without knowing who the real heavyweight big dog is, man. I just can't. And look, I just don't believe that Johnny Turinabol has yet to prove that he is the greatest lineal heavyweight in the world. I mean, he ran from Francis Ngannou, waited for Francis to dip from the entire organization as a whole, and then snatch his vacant title, and is actively ducking the interim champ in Tom Aspinall. And you and I both know that Big Aspinall brings a bunch of tools to the table that can be used in order to take out Mr. Johnny Turinabol. And until he's able to beat this newly, freshly cemented breed of heavyweight, he will forever and always be the disputed heavyweight champion of the world, which I know he's okay with, but please, Johnny Bones, for the sake of the future of the heavyweight division, fight Tom Aspinall. But that's all I've got to say for this video. Let me know in the comment section below, what are your guys' top 5 picks of champ super fights that you want to see by the end of 2025? Are there any I missed? Let me know in the comment section below. But that about wraps up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.